Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Costa, and I am standing in for Susan Sherman and Michael Mascola, as neither are here this evening to have our Budget Committee meeting. So calling the meeting to order, could we have the roll call, please?
Sue Sherman, Michael Mascola, Sabrina Albert, Sarah Dose. Here. Liz Costa,
Here.
Catherine Consalvo, Julie Hammond,
Here.
Mark Sherwood,
Here.
Karen White,
Here.
and Christy O'Clair.
Here.
Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin our meeting this evening, Mr. Woodworth has asked me if he could say a few words in honor of Mr. Mealy.
Mr. Bill Mealy, when I first got to Timberlane, was a dynamic coach and teacher, had a tremendous career at Timberlane. Is best known probably in retrospect for Mealy's Meals, which still exists and is run in his name, which has provided thousands, I'd say hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years to needy families. Originally around the holidays, which right now makes it come to mind, but it's become year round as a resource, to help families. It could be a fire in a home, it could be hardship that was unanticipated. And that's the fund that goes to help people in our community still. It's been handed down. His son ran it for a while. Other people have stepped up over the years, and it still thrives. He became an assistant principal. He became the principal, was a curriculum director for the district. A storied career, a tremendous personality, somebody that the community loved and will miss. So I just wanted to make sure we all had a moment of silence in memory of Bill Mealy. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
I'm going to ask the Budget Committee to look over the minutes of our last meeting on Monday.
I make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from December 11th.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Sierra and a second by Mrs. Zierman. All those, any conversation? All those in favor? 5, opposed, abstained, 1. Anybody have any correspondence between Monday and today? Okay, any delegates or individuals? Okay. So is there any discussion on any of the previous meetings we have had between the first budget we've seen and up until Monday evening?
I do actually have one question I was not able to make last meeting. I watched it online and I did not catch the differences with athletic transportation for the middle school, 15 grand, and high school. I'm sure there was an explanation given. I didn't catch it.
Are you referencing the reduction conversation? that was
Yes,
had?
yes, exactly, the blue.
Yep, that was more just about going back and really taking a closer look at some of the actuals and being really detailed about that stuff over the past years. There's not gonna be, we don't see any impact to getting our kids to athletic events. We just feel it was a little bit of space for us to do some shaving.
Especially because last year was so contentious and questionable as to what the transportation cost would be. Get it? Thank you.
Yeah, we just took a closer look of how many actual trips we will have to provide and
Okay, excellent.
Any other comments or questions or concerns? Seeing none, I'm gonna move on to the next thing. Administrative report.
And I'm gonna kick it right back to you because I was gonna speak to Mr. Mealy, but I'm gonna defer to Don and let that statement kind of stand by itself. Very well done, sir.
Okay. Are there any reports of the committees for the budget committee? Okay, that's a no. And then new business. So we're here this evening to talk about what our process has been for this, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, for this process. Instead of accepting the budgets as we received them, we accepted them for review so that we could make changes as we were going along if there were questions or concerns. So Monday night was the culmination. We had asked the superintendent and Maria and the leadership team to take a look and take $2.5 million out of the budget, which we truly appreciate that they did scour the numbers and were able to do that. We put back in the phone system upgrades at the schools and the intercom and math and science support books. And we also reduced the new positions, and I got this wrong the other night.
There was a lot of math happening the other night when I was watching it, yeah.
I gave up.
Cheers and Bob.
The number on the other page.
So motion to accept putting $225,000 back into the budget for new positions, which gave us a total of $2,045,000 to decrease the proposed budget that we have. Did I get that right? Thank you.
very good.
Thank you. So I'm not sure if any of you have any question as to our process or you want to, if Jack, you look like you have a question. I know.
You guys do a nice job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. So that's what our process is, okay. And now the next thing we have is the discussion of the warrant articles. So and would you like to bring us through this, sir?
Not particularly, but. Okay, I guess we should start. Okay, so Article 1, non-fiscal, has to do with the elections.
The
And
election.
school board members and budget committee members and when they're opening. So for Atkinson, there will be a 3-year term. For Plastow, a 3-year term for school board as well, and Sandown, a 3-year term for school board. As far as budget committee, Atkinson, Plastow, and Sandown. For Article 2, operating budget,
Do you have all the language there, Mark, or is this, obviously waiting on this group to kind of propose that budget number?
yeah, I do not have that language.
So it would,
Once both budgets, once the school board approves the default budget, votes on the default budget, that becomes the official number. We don't have numbers there
we don't
because
have that number.
they
because
haven't been
they
voted,
haven't- Okay, and
they
then
haven't been
the,
approved.
okay, and then the default budget, we kind of know already.
Yeah, we have both budgets here as they are proposed now. but the school board hasn't voted on the full budget and the budget committee hasn't voted on the proposed budget, so they are not official numbers yet.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't,
That's why we
haven't
didn't
put
put,
them in.
and that's fine.
Mhm.
And then we have the 3-year collective bargaining for the TTA.
So that's Article 3, 3-year for the TTA. Shall the voters of the school district approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Timberlane Teachers Association and the Timberlane Regional School Board, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits, so this is a combination, at the current staffing levels over the amount paid in the prior fiscal year. So the estimated increase for year 2024 to 2025, estimated increase is $2,427,107. For 25 to 26, $1,799,324. And for the year 2026 to 2027, $1,949,771. For a 3-year increase for salary and benefits, $6,176,202.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Then
bet.
the next one is the authorization for special meeting on cost items. Then the capital reserve fund by surplus to appropriate up to $250,000, I almost said million. General acceptance of reports is Article 6. Fund balance retention is 5% of the current fiscal year's net assessment. And the Timberlane Union Administrators Union is,
Just to give some detail there for you,
Yes,
Liz, there's an
please.
amendment to the current collective bargaining
Okay.
agreement there. It's not gonna have a cost impact over the 3 years, there's money in the budget that is there already. It's just asking the voters to authorize for spending to that purpose. This is professional development for the administrators here in Timberlane.
okay. And then technology staff, is that a new contract?
It is a group of folks that have kind of joined onto a collective bargaining agreement, so they negotiated a piece of that bargaining unit for that new group that entered it. And the cost increases associated with that.
Okay, so though that is the warrant so far, it's pretty straightforward. Thank you, school board.
So just to circle back to Article 3, the TTA, to give a little bit of context. This year's negotiations, they were long, but they were smooth. For the most part, each side was fairly strong in representing its needs and wants. There was a recognition that where things have stood historically with the Timberlane Teachers Union, when we looked at the local districts around and where starting teachers, mid-tier, and senior teachers, experienced teachers stood compared to the surrounding districts, it was a little bit illuminating, and it helped explain why we had some teachers leaving here seeking jobs elsewhere. We simply were not competitive. We were in the bottom tier across most groups. There was a recognition of that, and to their credit, the TTA also recognized that we are in some very challenging financial times, and we're recognizing some of the tax implications for towns, especially Danville and Sandown in a big way. So there was some goodwill on both sides. We reached what we felt was a fair, perhaps not as generous as many would like, and not getting us up even to the mid-tier, but baby steps, and we're rebuilding something that had been neglected for a while. So I would ask and encourage people when they do show up to deliberative to ask the appropriate questions so that we can get into more detail. And if the school board needs any additional information, we'll provide what we can prior to our school board meeting, where we go into it in very fine detail.
Excuse me, Mark, I just had one question on that Article 3, underneath where you've got the estimated increase, then there's another statement and further to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,187,954. What?
It further raise and appropriate approximately 3.1 million, representing additional cost attributable to increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those in the past that would be paid at the current staffing levels. Let me find the line item for that unless Maria happens to know that offhand.
I'm sorry, what is it?
The line item for this right here, Article 3, the last paragraph, where such sum is representing the additional cost.
Yeah, that 3.1, and I apologize, this was done today, these calculations were released today, so that 3.1 is the 2.4 on year one.
Okay, so
Those
it's
two
a
yeah.
combination of the two.
Yes,
All right,
Oh, okay.
that's just a mistake.
Oh, all
The
right.
number wasn't changed.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's the 2.4, that will be year
Okay.
one, yeah, I'm sorry. I should have caught that and I didn't, I'm sorry.
good catch, thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Any other questions about the warrants?
I have a quick question. Where are the band uniforms? I was just,
No warrant, I believe.
they're not
this
gonna
year.
do it, okay. I remember when Mr. Schweiss was here,
Saying he thought he was going
he
to
thought he
do
was
that.
going to, but he chose to shelve that for this year, I guess.
That's my understanding. From him, yeah.
Okay.
So that means it's not in the budget either, cause he didn't have it in his budget.
Correct.
So I just have a quick question, probably for the administration. We have a couple things going out to bid, the retention pond, a couple other things. Is that already built into the budget? No. So if we wanted to do one of those things, obviously we can amend that and throw it, but I'm just wondering how. I mean, we have a budget number. Typically what we would do, say, when we did the masonry on the gym, we carried the budget number in the budget. And then we put it, then we got the bids in, so, and we do have a budget number for,
So we encumbered the money to carry over. No?
we just put it in the budget.
Okay.
And then it went out to bid and it came in, a little bit less. No, I'm talking about
In the
last time I
past.
sat on the board, that's kind of the way we did it, we just carried the budget number, so I wanna make sure that if we plan on doing a project, that it's covered from a fiscal standpoint, that's all. There's a couple different ways of doing that, but.
Currently, right now, it's not in the budget.
Not that the school board cannot assign any the specific funds to it, but right now that project was not planned, so I know the school board requested to go out to bid for it, but it wasn't planned in the budget.
How about Article 9, sorry, did we do that one, technology staff?
Yes.
We did? Oh, okay. I don't know what that one is.
It's a group of staff that had joined a union, and because they're joining into an existing collective bargaining agreement, they needed to bargain their
Okay.
working conditions and salary and benefits. So that's the additional increased cost to that agreement as these folks have joined in.
So they're not teachers, it's not a teacher contract, okay.
It's a smattering of all different people.
But the
on it.
technology employees,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's all the technology employees that join the existing administration and maintenance union.
Any other questions about the warrants or anything so far this evening? The next thing is other business, so we can either, the budget committee can either vote on the budget as is this evening or wait until December 28th when the chair and vice chair are back. I know it's a tough time to do that because it's the holidays. Chrissy, you're looking pained.
You know, I actually do have a quick question real quick, if I could just go back to what Jack was saying. So if things that are out to bid, that those things are not a part of the budget, they come back and that's something that we wanna move forward to as a district, where does that money come from?
It depends what those things are.
So I don't know.
So-
What are those things that are out to bid?
So my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, some of those things out to bid for, Jack had brought up the sprinklers, we don't know what that is. Masonry wall, some of the other, digging of the pit.
I was referring to like the retention pond, right? So we have a budget number for it.
Right.
So why would we put it out to bid if we didn't plan on doing it? And all I'm saying is, we have up until, I believe it's the public hearing. Actually, you could change it at deliberative session if you want, so you have right up until the last minute to add things in or take things out as you deem them necessary. I just thought for the purpose of all of us being here tonight, wanted to make sure we kind of covered our bases and, if something can be taken out, great, if something needed to be added in, we have the form where we can discuss that, so that's all.
And the band uniform was a great question, so I honestly, and I'm embarrassed to say this, I don't remember exactly how it was left off with Mr. Schweiss. I had expected, and it fell off my radar, I had expected him to come in with a warrant article proposal. I don't remember that. And whether it was school board or BudCom that I last saw him.
I saw it at the board meeting, he presented it, and I think he was asked it didn't go in this year,
That's right.
well, happy with what put it against the following year. So,
Yeah, and the most current thing right now is we continue to work with Kurt to make that a realization and to have it be operational in new uniforms, as soon as we can, order in the spring, summer, or fall. There are other avenues available to us that we're gonna pursue.
I honestly thought it was odd that he wanted to put it up for warrant. It seems like a budget item to me. It seems like a normal expense that you have to
Replacing
upkeep.
computers,
It's
replacing
your,
books,
yes,
right?
you're replacing
It's
your
equipment.
equipment, it's equipment. So it was odd to me that he chose to put it on, as a warrant article, so I'm sorry.
It's kind of following the general pattern of how school districts in this region pursue those types of things.
Yeah.
And it's slowly changing over time, but that still is the historic trend that those things are raised through warrants.
I think to his credit, he seems to be very fiscally responsible. I think
Maria
he tried
concurs.
putting everything out there and said, here it is, and I almost feel like that should, one, that behavior should be rewarded, and two, the uniforms are needed. And this is a very difficult year, and my sense of it is I'd prefer personally to see in the budget. I thought the way we left it is we had 3 or 4 different options and we were gonna review what those options were and kind of make a decision. This is the best of my recollection, that's how we left
That's
it,
how
but we
I
left it
recall.
open
It was
ended for
nebulous,
sure.
yeah.
I think it's right as a warrant, potentially a warrant piece, because it had been that the last time we got it. 30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years, yeah. Right. Well, thank you to the senior statesman for having a better memory than myself.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
So I would like to know what the pleasure of the budget committee is for voting in our budget. I think there's 5 of us here. We're missing quite a selection. And I would think that it would be more appropriate that we had more people here. Are you gonna be here?
I'm good.
I agree with that.
Sarah?
I agree, however.
You're gonna be away.
Yeah, I might not
I
be
am
here.
too,
And
yes.
we did talk on Monday about voting today and
Mhm.
having the meet, right? We did talk about saying we could meet after and try to do it
Try it
tonight.
tonight.
But I also understand that there's not a lot of us here, so I
Can we
see both
vote,
sides.
if we called in, if we zoomed in? Does
How
anybody
does
know
that work?
Is that an official vote?
I don't know if they haven't been part of the entire meeting.
So you'd have to come in, you'd have to zoom in for the whole meeting.
For the whole meeting, not just for the vote?
Yeah, not
Yeah.
just for.
That's what I meant.
But the meeting would be
The meeting would still be the
quick-
meeting.
Right, but it would.
Yeah, it would be
Wouldn't be-
about a half an hour.
Yeah.
I could
max.
zoom in, I just would not be able to be here.
Okay. All right, are we all good with that?
What date are we looking at so that we can make certain we're not?
The 28th.
That's right.
It was the last date.
Thursday.
Do we know
Thursday.
if Sue and Michael are gonna be able to make?
I know Michael is, and I believe Sue said she was when I spoke to her earlier this week, when she asked me to step in.
We could reach out to Sabrina and Catherine and find out.
Catherine's at a school play or work function right now.
Yeah, so if we reached out and said, you know, we're gonna take the vote,
So let's do the 28th because it's been on our calendar. We all, so
Mhm.
I should be able to be there.
And
That was
then-
the one that I wasn't sure about, but it
okay,
sounds like most of us can be there and hopefully if not, we can zoom in for the duration of the meeting.
okay,
It's just to let you know, there will be some potential construction or work kind of happening in the building over the vacation, so we'll need to see, I don't know if the location is guaranteed gonna be here or if we'll have to go someplace else in the district, we'll look into
okay,
that.
but that will be posted
Wait,
with the notice.
Sure.
That it will be changed.
yeah, whatever we decide to do,
Okay.
wherever we have to have it, we'll make
It's
sure
not
it's
in
there.
this room anyway, so, because no, it
Yeah, what
won't
about
be-
access, people getting in, I don't know what it's
Yeah.
gonna look like.
All right, just let us know.
Will do,
Thank you,
sooner
sir.
than later.
All right, any other business? All right, if there isn't any, we are adjourned.
Sounds good.
27 minutes, my
Motion
friend.
to adjourn.
Motion to
I didn't even think about that, so whether